for generations.
Extreme genes, extreme genes.
Dates in the Bible don't quite match the marriage certificate.
Extreme genes, extreme genes.
Uh-oh. And welcome to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. I am Fisher, your radio root sleuth, on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. And this episode is brought to you by BYUtv's Relative Race. Glad to have you along. In fact, coming up in about 9 minutes, we're going to be talking to the host of Relative Race, Dan Debenham, because the series starts again, season 4, this weekend on BYUtv. So join us for that. And then a little bit later on in the show, we're going to be talking to DNA specialist Diahan Southard, and she's going to talk about ethnicity reports and DNA. How much can you rely on them? How much more reliable will they get? There has been some news in the ethnicity department this past week you're going to want to hear about as well. Right now, let's head off to Boston and talk to my good friend, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org, David Allen Lambert. How are you, David?
I'm good, Fish. How about yourself?
Awesome. I got this incredible email from a listener named Laura, and she's given me permission to share this, and I want to get your take on it, and I'll tell you what I told her about this. She said, I have a mess to fix. Let me start. And you might want to take notes as I share this story, by the way.
Okay,
It's a little complicated.
A piece of paper out right
here.
Yep.
Get your flow chart, okay? My mother was raised in a small West Virginia town where most everyone knows everyone. Mom's closest brother was John. He dated 2 of Mom's girlfriends, Lori and Lizzie. World War II came, and like many, he enlisted. Lizzie was his closest girlfriend, but Lori was his buddy. When he got home, he discovered Lizzie had married a local boy named Will. He also found Lori had married and divorced Bob during this time period. Well, John married Lori and agreed to raise her son. They ended up with 3 more kids, a daughter and 2 sons. Lizzie and Will had 5 kids. Skip forward to 2018 and DNA. A few cousins and I have DNA test results out on several sites: Ancestry, Family Tree DNA, 23andMe, and GEDmatch. We come up with a new first cousin. It seems that Lizzie and Will's second son is biologically Lizzie and John's.
My.
Yeah. This new cousin just thinks the test is wrong. I don't have the heart to tell him. I know for a fact that John and Lizzie were deeply in love. So I get the brilliant idea to pay to have my youngest cousin, John and Lori's son, tested, thinking that this new cousin will see he has half-siblings out there. Well, talk about a shock when the results came in that Lori and John's youngest son was not John's son. What do I do? Should I continue to keep my mouth shut? Do I do a DNA test on another of Lori and John's kids? Lori and John's youngest son that I tested said he has no interest in genealogy. To top it off, Lori and John's daughter dated what is now known by me to be Lizzie and John's son, half-sister and half-brother. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Wow, that sounds like genetic counseling 101. That is definitely an interesting one. You know, we all have these stories that happen in our family, and as you well know, last fall I got the surprise and delight that I have a half-sister, and now I'm delighted to have Donna and my family and her son, Matt. But I also have it in my dad's side. I said to him one time, I said, you don't look a lot like your brother. And he said, well, he's not my full brother. And I said, what? And I found out that my grandmother, in fact, had 4 children with another man after my grandfather was out of the scene. They were never married. However, the DNA has proven it. They are definitely not my full uncles. But the better part is they have a Mayflower line. I don't.
Very nice. Well, the thing is, DNA now is revealing these secrets from even a century or longer ago. And that's the amazing thing. What I told Laura was, my feeling was what Socrates has basically taught all the medical world: first, do no harm. If the one doesn't want to know and the other doesn't want, I don't know that it's her job necessarily to lead them to water just because it's the truth. Because having gone through this myself, having helped somebody discover that their father wasn't their father, it's painful. And I'm not going to be really anxious to do that again. I think they'll eventually figure it out because more DNA tests will come out that will cause questions to arise, and they'll figure it out from there. But wow, what a mess, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can find with DNA. The surprises await all of us.
All right, let's get on to some family histoire news here real quick. David, what do you have?
Well, this one is a presidential type of thing, but it has nothing to do with what's going on in the White House. It's what went on in the White House years ago. There were actually a small group of people, part of a presidential descendants, who had their first ever summit. So from people including the grandchild of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the grandson of Grover Cleveland, to great-grandson of Teddy Roosevelt. But how about the grandson of President John Tyler? Yeah, he has a living grandson. A president was born in the 18th century, has a living grandson.
They
all got
crazy.
together. They have shared stories. Some of them have memories of being in the White House as children, and it's a great way of connecting this small, unique group of people. My blogger spotlight this week shines on someone out in the UK, and it's actually not a person, but it is the University of Portsmouth that actually has a program where they're researching the railway accidents of Ireland and the UK. This is a website that can be reached at railwayaccidents.port.ac.uk, and they're documenting all the railway accidents and the railway deaths. And so check out that blog across the pond.
And that is fascinating to me because I'm actually the survivor of a fatal train crash back in 1973. Crazy.
I think you need to start an American version of it in your free time.
No, I don't have time.
Hey, I just wanted to give a shout-out to my good friends, Family History Fanatics. I'll be their guest on September 22nd, 2018 at humblegen.org. I'll be part of a conference with Tammy Tipler-Pirelli, Melanie McComb, and Tessa Keogh, where we do Back to Research e-conference. Delighted to be a guest of Devin and Andy. Again, find out at humblegen.org. It's September 22nd. Well, that's all I have from NEHGS this week. If you want to join NEHGS, don't forget you can use the checkout code EXTREME to save $20 on our membership. Catch you next week, my friend.
All right. Thank you, David. And coming up next, it's a brand new season of Relative Race on BYUtv, and we're going to talk to the host, Dan Debenham, in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. Hey, Genies, it is Fisher here, and we got a big weekend coming right up because BYUtv's Relative Race is back. It's their 4th season, starring Dan Debenham, and 4 teams racing across America, each night staying with a family member they never knew they had. And it's filled with emotion and humor and fun, and anybody into family history is going to love this show. Now, each episode, one team gets a strike, and then, just like in baseball, 3 strikes, you're out of there. The show starts this weekend, Sunday, September 16th, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time on BYUtv. Now, there's several ways to watch Relative Race. You can, of course, watch it on BYUtv for free on BYUtv.org or by downloading the BYUtv app, and it's available pretty much anywhere you can think of: Roku, iOS, Android, Google, Apple TV, Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, and Windows. Relative Race is back on BYUtv.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Legacy Tree Genealogists is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've worked with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476 or register online to get a free estimate. Right now, you can save up to $100 on professional genealogy research. But hurry, this offer expires at the end of the month. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries.
You know, I first met my next guest over 20 years ago, and he has not aged during that time. He sold his soul to the devil, and he's on television still.
I paid a price of $2.95 to the devil back in the day, and so that tells you what I actually truly look like. Not real good.
Hey, it's Fisher here. It's Extreme Genes, America's family history show on extremegenes.com, and Dan Debenham. He is the host of Relative Race. They are coming up on a brand new season on BYUtv. One of the top-rated shows on the network, if not the number one show, right, Dan?
That's what I hear. That's what they tell me. We're just excited that we can now bring this. Not only we originally had this programmed for once per calendar year, and it seems to be doing so well. We are now creating and producing and delivering 2 seasons per year. And the season coming up, which is season 4, actually starts on Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, every Sunday, starting Sunday, September 16th.
Sweet. And I remember being at Roots Tech, Dan, and you had a booth there for Relative Race, and you had members of the teams from your previous season. And I want to just go over and say, hey, how you doing? I couldn't get a word in because so many people were flocked around you and your teams because this show is so big within family history enthusiasts.
You know, it was really exciting. We've been a part of Roots Tech for the past 2 years, but I had just been asked to be a speaker here and there. This past year that you're alluding to your point, we were surprised. We were actually surprised with the overwhelming support and reaction to that.
The fandom.
It was incredible.
These are not people who followed you in your ESPN days.
No, I don't think so. In fact, it's kind of fun now to be bouncing around the country and doing different things. And when somebody says, I know you, I immediately think, wow, that's a good memory that they remember me from when I was on ESPN. But then they quickly say, we love Relative Race. And I just, again, it's exciting to see that people are really connecting to this show, which connects families.
Sure.
This is a show about discovery. And when we capture that in real time, you know, this is not scripted. It is truly unscripted. But I believe it is the best of what unscripted can do. And it is capturing those magical moments when somebody discovers for the first time that they have this relative that they have raced throughout the day or throughout the course of a week to discover. And when they knock on the door and the door opens up and they say, are you my relative? And the answer is, I am. And then they say, how are we related? And often now, more than ever, those answers are, I'm your mother, I'm your father, I'm your brother, I'm your sister,
wow.
I'm your aunt, I'm your uncle. It is overwhelming what that moment is like, and it's kind of humbling. I know that's a
sure. No, I think
it's kind
you're
of
right.
humbling to be a part of that.
It is, because you're connecting. I mean, this is the most important thing in the world is family.
Agreed.
Is putting people together. So for people who are not familiar with the Relative Race format,
sure,
let's just map that out a little bit.
Absolutely. Relative Race takes 4 teams. It originally was couples. They were all married couples. Now they're teams. So it can be a father-son or a mother-daughter or 2 siblings.
You haven't had Omarosa on this,
we
right?
have not.
Okay,
Not
I'm
yet.
just checking.
Not
okay.
yet. Yeah. So we take 4 teams. And then we fly them to a undisclosed location somewhere in the United States. We take away all their technology and we provide them with identical flip phones, old-fashioned flip phones that have no GPS or internet access. They do have texting capabilities only. Then we provide them with identical cars. And then throughout the course of 10 days, every day, we send them a series of text messages that provide clues for them to race to a different city every day.
Now, racing, that doesn't mean breaking speed limits
In
or
fact,
the fastest.
that will get you off the show. It may sound a little corny, but safety is everything. The last thing in the world is we need somebody to hurt themselves or someone else while filming this show. And so we actually have monitors on their cars, and we have production vehicles that are following them in front and behind, and they're not allowed to break any speed limits or traffic laws. But as they race to that city, they then are given a challenge in that city. And these are challenges that we create purely for entertainment value.
Sure.
They can be getting to a park and finding a drone and then flying the drone through a drone course, or it can be some kind of obstacle course, or this season, which you're going to see on September 16th. I think our day 2 challenge that they had was the most fun that we've ever had, so you'll have to watch that. But once they overcome that challenge in that city, they're given the final clue on where to find their relative. When they knock on that door, their clock stops, because this is all timed from the moment they start the journey in the morning to the moment that they find their relative at night. And when they stop that clock, then everything just stops for them, and they can enjoy this family, this new part of their family that they just discovered. When they find the family member, they also have to spend the night with the family, which is interesting.
In their home?
That's right.
Wow.
Now the relatives who we've contacted in advance, we've told them very clearly that when we say that you have to provide a place for them to sleep, it can be in the backyard. It can be, and so we have had people sleeping in tents. It's really been fun to see that
I've
dynamic.
enjoyed the show, but I don't recall anybody in the backyard.
We had somebody sleeping in the backyard on season 1 and season 2. People were sleeping in the backyard, and so they discover the relative. Time melts away, literally. Time stops for them. And then at the end of every day, we have a video conference call. And that video conference call conferences all 4 teams in, and myself as the host from our relative race headquarters. And these 4 teams at various locations around the United States. And we talk about how the day went. We talk about their relative and who they met. And it's often in tears that these video conference calls take place. But unfortunately, it is a race, and there is $50,000 on the line. And so if you are the one that is, in essence, the last one, or takes the most amount of time to find your relative, then you receive a strike. 3 strikes and you're off of the race. If you continue through the process and you make it to day 10 and you are the best on that final day, day 10, then you also win $50,000. So it is this race to discover family. It is a race to understand each other and survive 10 days in a car with no GPS, so you only have paper maps to guide you everywhere. And then it's this race to also earn $50,000. And it's just a wonderful show.
Well, it is a wonderful show. And, I think everybody in the genealogy space has been talking about this for a long time, and they really enjoy it because it really speaks to what we all do in research and DNA and all the things that are involved in that. And I know you use DNA, too.
We do.
In the process.
I've had a wonderful relationship with Ancestry DNA. But now that's expanded out, and many of the various companies help us in this search to find living relatives. And we also,
you need them all. You need all 4.
We bring them all in. We have professional genealogists that work on the staff with us. And this talented group of individuals, again, not only do we find the families, but we find the stories behind the families.
Yep.
And again, as those stories unfold, as we tell those stories on this show every episode, you really become connected not only with the team that's competing, but in their quest, who they're looking for. And when they find those family members each and every day, it's just overwhelming. It's just really cool.
All right, we got a few minutes left here, so give us what you can give us before the season begins. What we need to know, about the teams.
We call this a tease in our industry.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this: 4 new teams, and we do have something that happens on this season that has never happened before, and quite frankly, we hope never happens again.
Oh.
But that's a tease. Now, you got to watch for that because it's kind of dramatic. Let's put it that way.
Really?
I can tell you that there are several adoption stories this season where people were adopted and are looking for biological parents and biological family.
Sure.
I can tell you that we become better at what we do in the pre-production process of this show, and so we are better at finding those family members. And I can tell you again that this is absolutely true. This is not a tease, and that is that we have more families, closer family ties, and more family ties that will be revealed on this show than ever before, on this season, I should say. And again, this is season 4, and it starts Sunday, September 16th. So I hope you and everybody else will watch,
because I'm going to be all over this.
It truly is worth that 55 minutes that you put into watching.
Yeah, you had the cars right there at Roots Tech, which I thought was kind of fun.
That was fun. And when you attended Roots Tech, not only were you able to get in the cars and that were rigged with all of our cameras, and you could take pictures of yourselves in the cars with the cameras, but then we also had one of the challenges from the show that you could try to accomplish in the booth. And if you did that, then of course we had all kinds of
stuff,
great stuff, to give away. What do they call that? Swag. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Swag.
Shows you how unhip I am. I don't even know the term swag. You being the big star that you are, swag.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
So, are you going to be there again this year at Roots Tech?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And we're going to have the same kind of fun. And I've been asked to be a breakout speaker.
Great.
And so if you are headed to Roots Tech, please come by and say hello, because it is exciting to hear from those that value the show, that watch the show. And by the way, we get a lot of valuable feedback. We get a lot of suggestions on what fans want to see in the show.
And also, people can check out past seasons online.
Oh, yeah.
Dan.
They can go to relativerace.com, relativerace.com, and then that will redirect you to a number of places where you can watch. So go to relativerace.com, or you can go to BYUtv.org. because it airs nationally on the BYUtv network, and I think they're in about 75 million homes.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of places. So check it out. Relative Race. He's the host, Dan Debenham.
And he's the man, Scott Fisher.
Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Can't wait to see the new season. It's going to be fun. And coming up next, what's with those ethnicity reports? Are they reliable? Could they become more reliable? And what was the big change that happened this week? I'll talk to DNA specialist Diahan Southard coming up next in 5 minutes on Extreme Genes.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history. Studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Havorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks.
Hey, we're back at it. Talking DNA on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio roots sleuth, and very excited to have my good friend Diahan Southard on the line from Coral Springs, Florida. She is the lady behind yourdnaguide.com, and she really makes it simple. And Diahan, it's great to have you back on Extreme Genes.
Scott, thank you so much for inviting me.
You know, the ethnicity tests now, I mean, I think this seems to be where everybody is going. I mean, when you look at the total number of people on there without a tree on the DNA tests and all the different companies, it seems obvious that people are doing it mostly for ethnicity more than anything else. And obviously, many of them convert over to full subscriptions and start sharing trees. But I think just the absence of the trees really speaks to the fact people want to know their ethnicity. How much accuracy would you say are in these things? Because we hear that question all the time. What's your take on that?
Well, that's the thing about the word accuracy, right? When we think of accuracy, we're thinking of a bow and arrow and it hitting that bullseye every time.
Yeah.
And you really can't think of these results like that because accurate, it depends on who you're talking to, right?
I hear this all the time. I had a friend of mine whose grandfather was 100% Italian. He's been over there. He's been into the cemetery. He's seen the ancestors of this guy. They're all Italian. And then it comes back like 8% Italian and 30% Greek or something like that. And he says, I don't know about anything Greek. I said, the family must have been in Greece before they went to Italy or something like that. But I guess it really has to do with the place and the time that the match comes from, right?
Well, exactly. And you've hit on one of the big components of this testing. There's really three components you have to think about. The first, like you said, is time. When are we talking about you were in this place? And our ethnicity results right now from all of our companies are pinpointing the 500 years to 2,000 years ago time frame. So most of us, I know I certainly don't have our ancestors all the way back to 500 or 1,000 years ago. So who knows where they were, right?
Yeah.
The second component is reference populations. For example, if they've only tested Italians from southern Italy, say, and your Italians are all from northern Italy, well, they're probably not going to be able to pin you as Italian because your particular brand of Italian hasn't been profiled.
Sure.
So reference populations are a huge part of what we get out of these tests. And the last one is what I call fancy math. And that really comes down to the fact that it's not as simple as saying, okay, this is what Italian DNA looks like. Boom, boom, boom. Do you have those markers? You do, you're Italian. You think that should be the way that it works, but it's so much more complicated than that. They are using very advanced statistical algorithms to figure this out. So the math could also improve, and that would improve our results.
Well, and you look at what's just happened this past week. Ancestry has made the most recent adjustment on their ethnicity tests. What kind of changes did you see on yours?
Well, right. So they added 16,000 more people to that reference population group. So they're boosting their ability to be able to tell where you're from by making their references better. So for me, I was able to see, I used to have this huge Scandinavian category, right? Like I know a lot of people do.
Yes.
They were able to refine that so much better and pull out my 7% Swedish, which is almost exactly the percentage that I should see. So that was really great. On the flip side, I used to have a nice percentage of Europe West, and that's where a lot of people would see their German ancestors
Sure.
in that Europe West category. And I was right on, I thought, in my percentage of what I should see as far as my German ancestors go. Yeah, that almost entirely left. I'm now left with only 3% German, and it should be a lot higher. So
yeah.
I think most people will see the same kind of thing I saw. Some improvements in some areas and maybe a couple backward steps in others.
Well, and I think you've nailed it right on the head. And this is really the reason why so many people are seeing differences from one company to the next. And it has to do with what the original group they're testing against is, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And so that's why it's so great that we have second opinions, right? You get tested in Ancestry, then you can flip over to MyHeritage or Family Tree DNA. You can take your results even to living DNA and get a more granular breakdown of the UK. So there's just so many options now, and I think people will find that if you do that, if you kind of ask around, your real or true, or if you want to use the word accurate results, are kind of somewhere in the middle.
Do you think there's any point in taking all your results, maybe from all the different companies you may share your DNA results with, and averaging them? Would there be any benefit to that?
Yes. And I think what you'll see, too, is that every company has different categories. So it's actually kind of hard to average because you're not really sure which category goes with which other category.
Right.
And so then you'll also begin to see why you're seeing differences between the companies, because they don't talk about the world in the same way. So they can't be the same.
Interesting. Well, you've got a great event coming up here in just a little bit, coming up in Sandy, Utah at the Sandy Event Center. It's the Genealogical Roots Conference, October 4th and 5th. Fill us in on what that's all about.
Right. So we are really excited. I'm doing this in combination with Lisa Louise Cook of Genealogy Gems, as well as Sunny Morton, who's an author and a writer, and she also works with Lisa a little bit. But we've kind of put together what we feel like is the ideal 2-day conference experience. So regular conferences, you go to class, you have to get up, move all your stuff, go to the next class, and you're constantly moving and changing, and you're getting different speakers and different styles, and everything's changing. It's hard for you to kind of put it all together. Well, we've changed all that. You sit in one spot. We're up in front of you with a nice big screen, and we are taking you through a case study from beginning to end and kind of pulling on each of our strengths. So, of course, I'm doing the DNA side. Lisa Louise Cook is doing all the tech side, and Sunny Morton is bringing in that traditional records component, church records, and writing your own personal history and those types of topics. So the three of us have very similar presentation styles. We're very upbeat. It's very fun. We've coordinated our presentations so everybody's is the same. We're working on the same topics as far as the same case studies so that we can explain how to use each of the tools we know best to help you solve your questions.
So if you've got a case within your own family tree where you're saying, okay, I want to break through, I want to get to the other side of this brick wall, I've been stuck on it for 15, 20 years, this is the kind of thing that would help them to figure this out, yes?
Absolutely, yes. One reason I'm excited about this conference is that not only do you not have to go anywhere and that all the content will be delivered directly to you, but I feel like the atmosphere of the whole program will be so upbeat. We're doing a lot of games. We have printed a workbook for each participant, so you won't just be sitting there, but we'll ask you, okay, now turn to your workbook and do this exercise so that you're learning and you're applying immediately so that you're not left wondering, now what exactly did I learn and what am I supposed to do next? Because as you go home, you're going to have that workbook in your hand.
Sweet.
And it will give you all of the next steps.
That's awesome. All right, so how do people sign up for this thing?
All right, best thing to do, go to my website, yourdnaguide.com, and there's a big banner on that homepage. Click on that banner, sign yourself up.
All right, and it's coming up once again in Sandy, Utah at the Sandy Event Center, October 4th and October 5th. It's a Genealogy Roots Conference with my guest, Diahan Southard, Lisa Louise Cook from Genealogy Gems, the podcast, and Sunny Morton, another great researcher and another great asset as you go about figuring out how to navigate your way through the DNA maze and whatever else may be there. Thanks so much for coming on, Diahan, and look forward to hearing from you again in the future.
Great. Thanks again so much, Scott.
And on the way in moments, it's our preservation authority, Tom Perry from tmcplace.com. The holidays are coming up. Your special projects for the holidays are on the way. And Tom's got some app suggestions for you. That's all coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Legacy Tree Genealogists is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've worked with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476 or register online to get a free estimate. Right now, you can save up to $100 on professional genealogy research. But hurry, this offer expires at the end of the month. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Hey, Genies, Fisher here with a shout out to our Patrons Club members at patreon.com/Extreme Genes. This is where friends of the show support Extreme Genes for as little as $1 a month, all the way up to the cost of a very nice burger each month. I mean, a really juicy one. You can support the show and enjoy various special Patrons Club member benefits, such as acknowledgement on extremegenes.com, special bonus podcasts from expert guests like Maureen Taylor, the photo detective, CC Moore, your genetic genealogist, great storytellers and experts on record sets from all over the world. We even offer expert advice on specific questions challenging your research. So go to patreon.com/Extreme Genes and get signed up. We love sharing your genealogical journey with you on our Extreme Genes Patrons Club. After all, what would you rather have? Inspiring and informative content or another greasy burger? The choice is yours. And thanks for supporting Extreme Genes. Hey, we're back at it. It's Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. This segment is brought to you by Legacy Tree Genealogists, legacytree.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. Time to talk preservation with Tom Perry from tmcplace.com. Tom, really excited. Relative Race getting underway for another season here this very weekend. And you can watch it, of course, for free on BYUtv or on BYUtv.org or by downloading the BYUtv app. Very good stuff. So as we get ready for the holidays, Tommy, we have to be thinking about this stuff right now because it takes time to gather photographs and documents and maybe even audio of interviews with your senior family members to put together in something. And there are a lot of apps out there that can really help people at this time of year, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Talking about Relative Race and their apps, there's apps that we can use, like there's Google Photos. There's Family Tree History if you want to do like a coat of arms. You want to do some.
How does that one work?
Well, it's really neat. You go in and type in your name in like one of 5 different languages, and it'll come up and say, okay, this is the origin of your name. And sometimes there's coat of arms that you can download too, which is really cool. And, making a CD cover or something. I
think it would be actually fun to make your own coat of arms because I think a lot of those things that are out there aren't necessarily your family version of it. Maybe it's some other branch of another family of the same name. But wouldn't that be fun to make your own coat?
Oh, yeah. In fact, that's a good idea. Go and download like some generic ones and pick out what you like. Oh, hey, my farmer dad raised pigs. Let's put a pig in the coat of arms. Let's put a couple of chickens. Let's put a lightning rod, whatever, and just have really a lot of fun with it.
I would have to figure out which fish I would put on the coat of arms because I don't have one right now. We got to make sure that they're happy-looking fish, too. We can't have really nasty-looking fish. We don't want any sharks. We don't want any predators, nothing like that.
Yeah, but you just want the friendly ones.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what else do you have there on the app list? This sounds fun.
There's one that's called Photo Booth, which is really a lot of fun, where you can get your own photos and you can warp them like going through the fun house. You can add them to other photos, and they're just hysterical. And when you're going on a small trip, they're cool to do on your iPad when you're, out of range of using your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and I think the kids would have a lot of fun with that as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. This stuff is so much fun. And another thing, too, that you can do is download all your photos onto your iPad, and they're not that big of files. And then you can have the kids go and say, hey, look at these pictures and tell us what you think about grandma and great-grandma and what's going on. And they're sitting there writing their family history while you're driving down the road.
It's funny, you're right. Once people get exposed, kids get exposed to who their ancestors are, and they start to know them, they can actually start to try to figure out what they were about, maybe write a story around those people based on stories they already know about them and feel like they know them even a little bit better. So aren't there some audio apps that are available as well?
Yeah, there's audio apps. In fact, some of them they talk about on bhphoto.com. They talk about some good audio apps. Will do things that tell you, hey, for this kind of thing, this is what you want to do with your microphone. And there's apps you can actually put on your phone, and you can say, okay, we're doing this kind of an interview, so I want this microphone to act like a dynamic microphone, or I want this to be, more centralized microphone. And you can have options where you can go in and do editing. You can do sound refinishing on it. You can sweeten things up. And
Wait a minute. Are you saying that there's actually an app that will give you the effect of a different type of microphone? There are settings through it?
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of things where you can go in and say, hey, I want this to be a lower bass, or I want this to be something that's a little bit more over easy. It's pretty much like your computer. It's got the different effects you can go in and add, and you can do some funny things, do some voice changers. And I mean, the kids will be laughing hysterically and having a good time at the same time.
Wow. Well, that'd be great if I could be made to sound like Gilbert Gottfried. I think that'd be fantastic effect. Absolutely. All right. Great. I love this idea. Let's explore more of the apps that we can use as we put our projects together and for preservation when we return in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities, and it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's Top 10 Tips for Beginning Genealogists from the Chief Genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and ExtremeGenes.com. It's our final segment with Tom Perry from TMCPlace.com, our preservation authority. And we're talking about special apps that you can get for all kinds of things for preservation as you get ready for maybe holiday projects where you're going to try to preserve stories and photographs, maybe some audio. And we're finding there are apps really for all of those different things. What else do you have there, Tom?
There's an actually app called Photoshop Express, which is done by Adobe, where you can actually edit things on the fly. So you can take some photos in the graveyard or the house you used to live in. You can use this app to do all kinds of cool things. You can design borders on it. If it's taken during the bright sunlight and you want it to look a little bit more like it's afternoon, you can do all kinds of filters and effects on it. We have a lot of people that email us and come into the store and talk to us about, hey, I've got all these photos and there's stuff written on the back. Is there any way to put things on the front? Well, yes, there's actually a photo app called Pronto, Text on Photos. And what you can do is go and take all your photos and add words to them saying who they are and whatever. And this is a fun thing for kids to do because you give them the photos and say, hey, write a little blurb on what you remember about grandma. And it'll give you some real cool opportunities as a family.
Yeah, that's a good point here. You know, the more you involve the kids in the projects, the more meaningful they're going to be as they're given to people. This is the time to be working on it. So we've covered, let's see, audio, right? You were saying there's certain apps that will actually recreate the sound of a certain type of microphone. That's kind of fun, especially when you consider, you know, sometimes you're going to interview groups of people. Sometimes it's just going to be one-on-one, and you need a different effect for all of those.
Exactly. Like there's one called Awesome Voice Recorder, which is really a great program. It has like 5 stars, so you know a lot of people have really liked it. All kinds of editors. There's all kinds of things. All you need to do is go to the App Store or the Google App Store and type in what you're looking for, just a general search like audio or video or film or photos or whatever. Just look for stuff that has a lot of high ratings and you'll get some really good apps.
Yeah, no question about it. You know, the thing is, at this time of year, it's really important to kind of map out exactly what you want to try to accomplish. And what we're trying to do is share with you what are the possibilities. What can you put together? Can you create a book? Can you create a video? Are you capable of editing? Well, you can certainly learn. There's a lot of material out there available also on YouTube to help you learn how to do these projects. So we're just trying to fill your head with thoughts about some things that you might be able to do that are going to be special and lasting. And this is the time to get those projects underway.
In fact, the neat thing about the voice editors is in the old days when we used to have to cut tape with a razor blade, it was hard. Nowadays, it's so much easier because everything's visual. You can see you're recording something and a car drives by or something. You can go and physically see the spike and erase it and it's gone and you're rocking and rolling to the next one. And you can come off like you really know what you're doing when obviously we don't sometimes.
Yeah. You know, I run into a lot of seniors periodically, Tom, and then they say, well, I can't do that. I can't do this. Who needs a cell phone? It's like, wait a minute. Yeah, are you telling me you stopped learning? Really? I mean, that's the end of it? So, you know, really, there's so many things that you can do right now. And I think a great thing, as you mentioned earlier, would be to involve the kids as much as possible because they do understand these things. So if you could put together even the vision of what you'd like to accomplish as a Christmas gift for the family, involve them and they can technically make it happen. And there's the real magic, right?
In fact, one of the greatest apps that kids love using is called Add Music to Video Editor. So it has the video and the music all right together. It's easy to use. There's over 15,000 people that are using it now that love it. And it's one of those programs that's easy to use. I don't care how old you are. This is easy to use.
Sweet. All right, Tom. Great to talk with you again. We'll talk to you again next week.
My pleasure.
Hey, that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to talk to the members of Team Red from Relative Race, find out their takes on the first episode of Season 4, which, of course, gets underway this weekend, Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific on BYUtv. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to sign up for our weekly Genie newsletter at extremegenes.com and on our Facebook page. You can also sign up to support the show, our patron club with all kinds of special benefits in those places. Talk to you next week. Good luck in your genealogical journey. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.